This engine here was like 2015 or newer. It's got the updated timing chain tensioner, it's got the updated timing chain, and it's even got these updated guides where this one in particular, you see how it goes a little bit further up and the bottom wraps around a little bit more, whereas some of these old ones, the bottom of that guide did not wrap around. Now this part on the very bottom does not touch the gear and it does not touch the chain. It just kind of hovers there if you pay attention. But whenever you update this guide, is it necessary to also update this oil pump tensioner? Because this oil pump tensioner is different than the one you'll find. Let's talk about it. So here's what I did. I made a video on this engine over here a few days ago. It's got all kinds of sludge and junk in it. I thought I could rob that guide for this oil pump chain off that engine, because no one usually changes this guide. Everybody changes everything else, but nobody usually changes this chain or that guide. To change this chain, you have to take the oil pump off, because you can take this chain off right here. It'll slide completely off, but it's not going to come out of here unless you take this stuff off. You have to at least take the oil pan, the lower oil pan off, and then you have to unbolt the windage tray, which this is technically a windage tray as well, but there's a plastic tray in here, and then you have to unbolt this oil pump. And I thought that I could rob this guide off of that engine, and I went ahead and just threw it in there with one of my power tools. And look, I've put hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of these things in. The guy that put this one together over torqued this, so this bolt was already compromised. And guess what happened? It stripped out in the block. It broke. Now I have a stud jammed up in there in that block. And normally I would just get it out. Look, I've worked for so many years without showing other people what's going on and how to do stuff. How would you get this out? Would you go straight to your drill bit cabinet? Well, I went straight to my pick. And the first thing that you want to do is you want to see if there's some kind of knurl, some kind of edge, some kind of something that you can grip onto. And a lot of times there might not be. That one broke off pretty clean, but the head of the bolt is not on there anymore, so that stud should be loose in here. So what you try to do is, you see how it's moving around a little bit? That's a very good sign. That means it is loose in there. But I've got this straight pick. Zoom out so you can see it. I've got this straight pick. It's definitely not the least bit bicurious or homosexual. It's completely straight. And since that's the case, I can put it in here and just roll it around. And look at that. I'm able to grip it just enough to where I can unscrew the broken stud. Now, it's pretty close to the edge. Pretty close to the edge. I could keep going. At this point, I can almost get it with my fingers or with pliers or something. But what I naturally want to gravitate towards is a magnet. Now I just want to put a magnet on there and spin it out. So I got a little magnet here. I'm going to wipe off the end of it so it's clean. And now I'm just going to stick it on there. And now I'm just going to rotate it. Is that going to do anything? How about if I go around the edge like this? Is that going to do anything? All right. And there it is. And now it just dropped in the oil pan. Because I'm trying to look through, no it didn't. trying to look through my phone as I'm doing this stuff, but if it would have dropped in there, I would have still been able to get it out with a different magnet, but I'm really glad it just dropped right here. Now let's go ahead and try this again, only this time I'm going to give you bonus. I'm going to show you the new style, the updated style guide for the oil pump. That's what the new style looks like. So you can see the new style is thinner. It's a thinner profile, but they look about the same. Is there a part number somewhere? 109507M 507F. What, you don't think I'm ready to settle this debate right here, right now? This is the old style guide for the oil pump. We're gonna see if it hits that new style rail for the timing chain. You see how it comes down further than the one I just had on there? First thing is we're just gonna set it here and mock it up. Go ahead and just start it in a little bit. Let's go ahead and screw it down, shall we? Now, would you look at that? It goes all the way tight. Can't get any tighter than that. Now, is it gonna hit at any point? You know what? It's still not good enough because I'm still gonna have some naysayers. So here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna take it back off. I'm gonna take the oil pump chain back off, and I'm gonna see how much movement this guide has without the chain. So the chain has to move over here. Now we're going to toss the guide back in. Is the chain going to be all the way out of the way? And then let me go ahead and bolt it in. And this chain has to be all the way out of the way, which it is. And now I'm going to go ahead and spring load it again. And if you'll notice, it does hit the guide, but you literally have to be, right there for it to hit. And if you're right there, where does that put it? And even if it does hit it, it's not really obstructed. It is touching just a little bit, that guide, but that guide is not even touching the chain. Even if this spring-loaded pressure is all the way out, it's not going to force that bottom guide into the chain. It's going to be a little bit difficult to see. Now here we are with the old style guide on it again with the chain installed. So now let me see if there's any movement in this rail. That rail is not touching or moving at all with the chain installed. And now it is pretty close though. Look, I don't think it's ever going to cause any problem whatsoever. I would be willing to bet on that, but Is it a bad idea to update this oil pump guide as well? Not a bad idea. Now here it is with the new style guide, and if you'll notice, I can go all the way in and out, and it's not going to obstruct that newer style guide at all. And that's what it looks like with the newer style oil pump tensioner.